Thank you for joining, everyone. We'll get started in another 2 or 3 minutes. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. My name is Megan DeJoy. My pronouns are she, hers. I want to officially welcome you to Stony Brook University. And your session tonight, it'll be on living on campus. So we have our friends with campus residences here to present to you more about it. During your session, if you have any questions that you'd like answered, we will do our best to get to as many as we can. There is a Q&A option somewhere on your Zoom, whether it's on your screen, whether it's on your phone. There is a Q&A field, and we will do our best to answer all the questions during our time here. If you have a general orientation question, you can email orientationoffice@stonybrook.edu, and then I'm sure campus residents will share their contact information at the end for any additional questions that were not answered during today's session. Today's session will be recorded. We do have families and students in the room. For those students that are doing this for the required credit, as long as you logged in through your SBU Start portal, you'll be getting credit for this session. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our friend with Campus Residences.
Hi, welcome to your session today. So like Megan said, we're going to be talking about your on-campus housing today. So let me tell you a little bit about your presenter. It's me. My name is Olivia Lopez. I use she, hers pronouns. I'm one of the residence hall directors here on campus. I oversee Gershwin and Hendricks halls in the Roth community. So on our agenda for today, we're going to be talking a little bit about community living, campus residences staff, inside your room, and our residential and campus policies. So starting off with our community living, we're going to be going over a little bit about apartments, suite styles, and corridor styles. So these are your types of living styles here on Stony Brook's campus. The first one is corridor style. We have singles, doubles, and economy three-person designed rooms. We have community bathrooms in these corridor styles. They are gendered by floor and wing, and there's about 30 to 50 residents in each corridor, and these corridor styles are predominantly first-year students. In our suite styles, there's the same thing. We have singles, doubles, and they have the economy double rooms. You have a shared bathroom and a living room inside the suite. These are gendered by the suites, and there's 4 to 6 residents per suite, and these predominantly house our upper division students. And then we also have apartments, which have singles, doubles, and economy three-person rooms, shared bathrooms, a living room, dining area, and a full kitchen. They're gendered by apartment, 4 to 7 residents in each apartment, and these are exclusively for upper division students. So what are those differences in room types that I was talking about? in a designed 3-person suite. So that means it's a larger room with larger square footage where standard furniture sets exist for students and the beds are not lofted or bunked. So that means like raised up. They have the same rate as a double occupancy room. The economy 3-person is a room that receives a 15% reduction in the build rate and it is not temporary. There's one bed lofted and the other 2 beds are bunked. There's furniture such as desks, wardrobes, and dressers are a little bit smaller than in the non-economy rooms, but everyone receives a full set of furniture. In a temporary triple, these are really only used in extenuating circumstances, but it's a double occupancy room that has been bunked or lofted beds to accommodate a 3rd person. But these beds do not include a 3rd desk, dresser, or closet. But the 3rd bed space is de-tripled as soon as the space allows. And once de-tripled, the residents receive an 18% room credit for the time in a temporary triple. So where will you live? First-year students should expect to live in one of the 3 communities associated with the undergraduate colleges. So most likely corridor style. They will have majority double occupancy rooms with singles, economy rooms, designed 3-person, and temporary triple rooms available as part of the selection process. These are a really great opportunity to build connection and community in your first year, since there will be a larger population of students there. If you are a new transfer or continuing student, you will predominantly have suite style living. Some will still live in corridor style. Some live in West apartments that provide full kitchens. And you can do that if you have 57 or more credits cleared on your transcript. There's also mainly double occupancy rooms, except those in Chavez and Tubman halls or West apartments. And that same thing, you must have 57 or more credits cleared. Let's talk a little bit about amenities. So in all of our residence halls, there's things like recreation rooms that have like our ping pong tables and pool tables and other games. There's classrooms that you can use to study, lounges where you can hang out with your friends and study. There's dedicated study rooms. We have Wi-Fi in every hall and Seawolf Cinema, which is our on-campus movie website. There's lots of movies, TV shows that you can watch on there all for free. It's kind of like Netflix in a way. They also all have laundry rooms. And just a good reminder here that students should be mindful of others when using the communal laundry spaces. We have a website called Laundry View that allows you to see when washers and dryers are in use, how much time they have left, or when they're empty. And if you scan that QR code up there, it should take you to that site. We also have amenities in each community in addition to your buildings. So some of them have computing centers, so you can use a computer. They have parking lots. They have different kinds of sports courts like volleyball, tennis, sand volleyball, basketball. They have nearby dining locations. They have residential fitness centers. And there are elevators, except in Mendelssohn H and the apartments living. We can also talk about mailroom. So every community is assigned a mailroom. So Roth and Tabler share a mailroom. So Central Residential Mailroom in the Roth Cafe. Chapin has a mailroom. It's in the Chapin Commons. The Wagner mailroom serves the Roosevelt, Kelly, Noble Halls, West Apartments, and Schaumburg and West. And there's the Irving mailroom that helps out H, Mendelssohn, Chavez Hall, and Tubman Hall. And you can find your mailing address in the housing portal so you can know where to send your mail. There's a little bit about our community staff breakdown. So in your residential living area, every community has an assistant director who kind of oversees the area and all of the buildings in it. They are assisted by an office manager and their residential hall directors. So residential hall directors, there's one per building, and they kind of have the most direct interaction with students, handle bigger issues. The area office manager handles a lot of our administrative tasks, things like keys and room swaps when necessary. The area office manager is assisted by office assistants. So those are some of the student workers you see whenever you enter an area office. And the residential hall directors are helped out by the resident assistants. Also another student position here. and you will have a resident assistant kind of assigned to like your floor or wing, and they're a person that you can go to help out or that can help you out with things like lockouts or just somebody to talk to and learn more about Stony Brook. There's some other staff you might see around each campus. That's like facilities managers. They help our buildings to operate. Our custodial supervisors, they help make sure all of our custodial staff completes their tasks. And like you can ask them if there's something like, oh, my bathroom didn't get cleaned this week. Can you help me out with that? And we might talk to them. And we also have our assistant coordinators, which are our grad students that kind of assist in overseeing each resident hall. But how can we help you? So I talked a little bit about what we do, but we can help you with lockouts, any maintenance concerns, or just your general questions. You can go to the area office with these questions. It's open Monday to Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And if it's outside of those hours, that is when you can go to your residential assistant. They're in the resident assistant office, or the RA office, as we usually call it, but they're there every day from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. So you can always talk to them, even if you just have a question or just looking for someone to talk to. Then after 11 p.m., they're still on duty and on call until 8:30 in the morning. They're just not in the office, but they have a phone that you can call. That's every day, but on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, they're on call for 24 hours. So you can call them whenever you need. And let's talk a little bit more about inside of your room, like what we already have for you, what you might want to bring with you, and some policies that you'll need to follow. So for your corridor style, we will have a bed frame and mattress, a dresser, a nightstand, a computer desk with chair, and a closet or a wardrobe. In your suite style, you will have everything that's in the corridor style, but you will also have some sort of couch, love seat, or different chairs. You'll have a coffee table. And if you're in a cooking suite, instead you will have a kitchen table and chairs, but no living room furniture. In the apartments, you will have everything that the corridors and the suite styles have, but you will also have a dining table with 6 dining chairs, a refrigerator, a microwave, and an electric stove and oven. So this item checklist and prohibited items, these are really, really good to review before you move in here. The Off to College checklist has just some things that we don't provide, but you might want to bring with you. And they're allowed by our Stony Brook terms of occupancy. And this prohibited items is also really, really important to look at, because any of those items, like, you should not be bringing into the residence halls, and we won't allow you to keep them within the halls. So things like extension cords, make sure it has to be resettable to be considered a surge protector. Don't have lights that can be like connected with additional outlets. Non-CFL or LED light bulbs. No electrical appliances, so you can't bring your own air conditioner or space heater. You cannot bring a plug-in air freshener. You cannot have a foam or gel mattress topper. You cannot bring in any non-authorized furniture. You cannot bring in any candles. No tobacco, marijuana, or vape products. No pets other than fish. There's some decoration sizes that you'll just want to review our terms of occupancy for to make sure everything is in compliance. So take some time and review your terms of occupancy before moving in. It will really help you out when we do health and safety inspections to make sure everything is all complied with. And then a big one down here, the not recommended, is those peel and stick LED lights. They do cause a lot of wall damage when you take them off at the end of the year. That may result in kind of like a damage charge. So we don't recommend that you have those. And yeah. I'll talk a little bit about refrigerator policy. So in our terms of occupancy, refrigerators not supplied by the university must conform to the following standards. You have 1 refrigerator per person. It has to be no larger than 5 cubic feet. This is a big one that's easy to forget, but all refrigerators must be plugged directly into the wall outlet. The use of extension cords or surge protectors for plugging in refrigerators is prohibited. Refrigerators may not be placed on top of furniture or stacked on top of another refrigerator. Just keep the refrigerator on the floor. And refrigerators will be expected for external cleanliness and deterioration during check-in and throughout the semester. If you are in need of a micro fridge, which is a combination microwave fridge, you can scan that QR code down there and it will tell you a little bit about that. Getting connected with our internet. So we do have Wi-Fi and internet available for you. There's a couple different ways to do it. We have the Get Connected. That's for the first time that you need to connect to WolfieNet. It configures your Wi-Fi enabled devices to use WolfieNet properly. We also have WolfieNet IoT. That's only in the residence halls for your gaming systems. So it's not for like academic works or like online shopping. We have WolfieNet Secure. It is recommended for like your day-to-day uses after you do your Wi-Fi setup through the Get Connected. And we also have WolfieNet Guest, so that can be used by anybody that doesn't have a net ID. Here's some more about kitchen appliances that are allowed and aren't allowed. So you can have a single serve coffee maker in every kind of apartment and suite or just dorm room. You can have a kettle with auto shut off. You can have the FSA micro fridge or a mini fridge. And then once we get down here, you get a little bit different. So the rice cooker and crock pot you cannot have in corridors and suites, but you can have in a cooking suite if you're in Hand or Gershwin, or if you live in the apartments. Same thing with the university issue microwave. You cannot have it in a corridor and a suite, but you can have it in Gershwin and the apartments and Hand. And the air fryer, toaster, food dehydrator, multi-cooker, you cannot have in corridors and suites. You cannot have in a cooking suite, but you can have it in an apartment. But items that are prohibited in all halls and apartments, that's things like a toaster oven, hot plate, and a grill cooker. And we do that for fire safety. And if you have any questions when you're moving in about any of your appliances, please just ask us before you move them in. We'd rather let you know ahead of time. Here's some more prohibited items, which has been, we've seen a large increase in these recently. So bicycles and micro mobility devices like electric scooters, bikes, and skateboards are prohibited in all residential buildings. So you cannot bring them inside. If you are found in possession of these items within the residence halls, then you are going to be referred through our student conduct process. We do have in the each residential community, there are some bicycle racks and covered storage. So you might see signs like this in your residence hall that say like, stop, like, please don't bring in your electric scooter or your electric bike in here. We are not allowing them in the residence halls at this time. But we do have, if you do happen to have any of these devices, a registration for them. They are super great to register because in case you suspect theft, then UPD will be able to assist in the investigation and also have a record of your ownership of that. A lot of students also abandon their bikes on campus, but if we have a registration for it, it will help us to decide if a bike is in use or if it's been abandoned and can be removed. But please don't abandon your bike. It's much easier if you find a place to donate it or let us know that you no longer need it. And the registration is free and it provides your record of ownership. So you can register if you scan the QR code linked to this presentation, if you go to the SBU Campus Residences website at any time. And there's also this QR code near the bike racks just around our residence halls and campus community. Personal property insurance. So students are expected to insure their own personal property via a renter's insurance policy or confirm with your homeowner's insurance carrier that students' property, including computers and other electronics, are covered for loss while housed outside of the family dwelling. Stony Brook University has partnered with GradGuard, which offers a unique renter's insurance program. So you can protect your belongings from things like fire, water, theft, vandalism, and smoke. Starting with fall 2026 policies, their insurance will also cover e-scooters, e-bikes, and accidental laptop damage. You can purchase GradGuard renter's insurance when you complete your housing application or through the website, which we linked here in the presentation, or you can just Google it and find it there. Some fire safety reminders, a big one. Per the terms of occupancy, section E under fire safety number 1, no person shall refuse to observe any safety regulations or procedures. So just please follow all fire safety and procedures. Some examples of other prohibited behaviors or items include, but are not limited to, remaining in the apartment or residence halls during a fire alarm. So anytime that fire alarm goes off, please treat it as if there is a real fire, because there very well may be. So please just evacuate your residence hall anytime the fire alarm goes off. SVU is also tobacco free. So tobacco includes all tobacco and tobacco-derived products, including but not limiting to cigarettes, electronic cigarettes, jewels, vapes, cigars, hookah smoked products, oral and smokeless tobacco like dip, chew, snuff, and spit. We do have resources available on campus to help with tobacco cessation. If you scan the QR code, you can learn a little bit more about it and our resources here and why they're prohibited on our campus. We are also a cannabis-free campus. So the use and possession of cannabis on Stony Brook's campuses remains prohibited under federal law. State University of New York campuses are bound by the federal requirements under the Drug-Free Schools and Communities Act. Under this requirement, the use, possession, cultivation, and sale of marijuana remains prohibited on all SUNY campuses and is subject to disciplinary action under the university's Code of Student Responsibility. This prohibition covers all SUNY property in public as well as campus residence halls, university apartments and offices, university-owned and leased buildings, housing, parking lots, and all SUNY events. The Center for Prevention and Outreach continuously offers educational programs focused on cannabis and marijuana, which you can find on SB Engaged and Cork, which is kind of like our event finding app. And over on the right there are some QR codes linked to the Code of Student Responsibility and also SB Engaged and Cork. Some official directive reminders. Per Code of Student Responsibility, official directives, students shall comply with the directives of university officials exercising their assigned duties. So it is against policy to not comply with staff, which includes but is not limited to residence hall directors or RHDs, resident assistants or RAs, fire marshals, and other university officials. Here's some info about the housing portal and the website. So on the housing portal, this is where students see applications, housing assignment informations, and other processes like room changes, wait list, and end of semester plans forms. So based on the time of year, various processes and applications will be shown there and linked. On our housing website, it's a great resource for students and their families. Application deadlines, types of communities, virtual tours, rates, policies, and so much more can be found on this website. And that last QR code is some questions about applications, billings, and cancellations. So you can email reside@stonybrook.edu. You can include your Stony Brook ID number and details regarding your situation, an email from your Stony Brook University email account, or the active email address that we have on file for you. That'll help us be able to most easily answer your questions. Here are some frequently asked questions that we can go over. So can you bring a microwave? No, you cannot, but we do have microwaves in communal kitchens. They are specifically designed for residence hall rooms with enhanced safety features. And you also may rent a micro fridge unit for your room, which is a fridge and microwave combined, and it's linked there. Are AC units allowed? No, you cannot bring your own AC units, but you can bring a box or tower fan. How can I get my bed raised or lowered? you can input a fix-it order to request to raise or lower your bed. Are candles and plug-in air fresheners allowed? No, they are prohibited under the terms of occupancy. Other heat generating items, including salt lamps, hot plates, air fryers, if you're not in a cooking building, those are all prohibited. But you can have an electric blanket as long as it has an automatic shutoff. What is our guest policy like? So overnight guests are allowed for any 3 nights in a 7-day period and a maximum of 6 days in a 30-day period. So speak to your roommates about having guests and staying overnight. But you cannot have guests over until you complete a roommate agreement with your RAs first. That will happen in your first couple weeks of getting at Stony Brook. What size are your beds, and can you bring your own mattress or air mattress? The beds are a twin XL, but non-university mattresses are prohibited. Can you bring your own chair or furniture? You can, but it must be Cal 117 approved if it's upholstered, or metal or plastic if it is unupholstered. You cannot have any wood furniture. Are extension cords and surge protectors or multi-plugs allowed? Also, not extension cords and multi-plugs, but you can only have a surge protector with an automatic shutoff, which also just means like it is resettable. They usually have an off and reset switch, and that means it's resettable and it should be allowed in the residence hall, as long as it also complies with our other electricity standards. And that is the end of the presentation. And now we're just on to our questions part. So I'm gonna open up the Q&A. So someone asked about the mattress toppers. So if you review the terms of occupancy, there are certain mattress toppers that comply with our Cal 117 standards. So if your mattress topper complies with the Cal 117, those are typically not gel or foam. They're kind of like just like a fabric or like a fluff in there. So you can have a mattress topper. They just need to be compliant with our standards. And then are the lamps required to not have a plug that plugs into the wall? I'm not totally sure. You can have a lamp that plugs into the wall. One of the things that happens a lot with the lamps is you have a lamp and that like a desk lamp, and then on that desk lamp there is an outlet where you could plug in another thing to that lamp, and that is not allowed. But if it's just a lamp and it plugs into the wall, that should be okay, as long as it has an LED light bulb and complies with the UL and ETL electricity standards. Oh, this is a good one. Are kettles allowed in the dorms? As long as it has an automatic shutoff, then yes, you can have a kettle in the dorm. And when doing laundry, do we bring our own detergent? Yes. Sometimes at the beginning of the semester, you might be able to find a program where they're doing like laundry bingo and you can win like some Tide Pods, but the university does not supply laundry detergent. Can you bring your own mini fridge? Yes. As long as it complies with the mini fridge standards. Can freshmen apply to become RAs? You can, once that application opens up, and we actually really encourage you to. Just keep an eye out for the RA application to go live, make sure you go to an info session and you can definitely apply. Can you put a TV in your dorm? Yes, as long as it doesn't block any doorways, or cause any other like pathway issues. Should I be looking to rent a micro fridge ahead of time? Or should you do it once you moved in? I would look into it ahead of time just because it's easier and we can usually have that like ready to go for you once you move in. There's a question, where can I get hot water? There's not necessarily a place in the residence hall. We do have like water dispensers, like the wall water fountains that have a bottle filler, but those will only really dispense like cold water. But you could go to the dining halls and they might have something. I think the buffet style dining halls have like hot water stations for like tea, and you could fill something there. If you can't find your own roommate, will one be assigned to you? Yes. Um, you will just be matched with someone based on the questions that you answer in your profile. You receive a bunked or raised bed in a double dorm. They shouldn't be, but you can ask to raise your bed. You typically can't ask for it to be bunked. Two fridge policy applying to the micro fridge. Yes, you can only have one fridge per resident. So if you're in a two-person room, you could have two refrigerators, even if it's a micro fridge. Can you use liquid or pods for laundry detergent, or is everything okay? You can use whatever you would like. And also typically in our laundry rooms, we have some signs to kind of help you out with how much laundry detergent, how many pods, and things like that. Where can you request to raise your bed? So that is through our Fix It website. It should be linked in this presentation, or if you just look up Stony Brook Fix It, that's where you place all of your work orders, and custodial or maintenance staff will come over. It's a whole form that you fill out. You say like what kind of issue you're having, where do you live in the building, what would you like done, and things like that. So there is a website for it. Just look up Stony Brook Fix It. Am I able to raise my bed on move-in day? Most likely no, because like I said in the previous question, you just have to submit a form. And usually it takes, especially during like those move-in weeks, they're getting a lot of requests to raise beds. So usually it doesn't happen on that first day, but it's usually not that long of a wait. Are there microwaves on floor kitchens? Yes. There are a couple, so I oversee Gershwin Hall, so like it's a cooking building, so we don't have like a public kitchen, but we still have a microwave room. So you should be able to access a microwave even if you don't have one in your room. Someone asked, can you say if you prefer a triple or a double room? Typically, no. It will just go, um, or if you're able to select housing, you can indicate there, or if you're just assigned housing, it will just be assigned. Someone asked about dining hall hours. Those can just be found on the website. So I just look up Stony Brook dining hours because there's so many different dining locations on campus. I wouldn't be able to give you an accurate picture. But West, I think they asked about West Dining specifically, typically open until like midnight, but those hours change pretty frequently. So it's best bet is just look at the website. Someone asked if it is a possibility to get a single dorm for yourself or it's only in housing for non-first year students. Typically, no, first year students do not receive a single room. The only exception to that is sometimes if someone has a student accessibility accommodation, they work with our student accessibility office. And sometimes the accommodation is a single room. But typically, freshmen are not assigned a single dorm room. Someone asked if bed risers are allowed, and they are not. Someone said, can you be a first year and first semester freshman and be an RA, or you have to wait for the second semester? You'd actually have to wait until your sophomore year to actually be in the RA, but you would apply during, it's typically like the end of the first semester, beginning of second semester, you're doing that application and interview process to become an RA for the year after. Someone asked if headboards are included, and if not, can you bring your own? They are not included, and typically, no, you cannot bring your own. Someone asked if we have an electric scooter or e-bike, it cannot come into the dorm hall. That's correct. So if you have an electric scooter or e-bike, it just can't come into the dorm hall. You can have one, but you just have to leave it outside. And that means, yes, it also has to stay outside even in the winter, even when it's raining. So just make sure you have a plan for that if you want to bring one. Someone said, can you take dining hall food out to eat later? Yes. Yes, you can. Some of our dining halls are buffet style and those you can take food out of. But some of them are just kind of like you pay for what you want and you get that specific item and you can still take that with you to go. Someone said, are command strips okay to attach something to the wall? We really do not recommend using command strips because typically they will rip a bunch of paint off the wall. So we don't recommend it. Do the desks have desk hutches? If you mean like that little top part, there's like a little top and like a little shelf on all the desks. Yes. Can you bring a hair blower? Yes, as long as it complies with the UL/ETL electricity standards. That's a big one to make sure that it doesn't overheat. But yes, you can bring like a hair dryer. And also with hair dryers, just my own personal reminder, make sure to use them in the bathrooms and not in like your own personal room because they really set off the fire alarm a lot. So it's really nice if they're used in the bathroom instead, where there is no like smoke detector and it's just a heat detector in case there was an actual fire. Someone asked about the temperatures of the dorms normally. So we have two different temperature ranges that we aim to be in the heating season. So like when the heat is on, we are looking to be between like 68 and 72 or 65 to 72, I mean. And then during the cooling season, we are aiming to be between um, 68 and 72 or 76. So kind of moderate temperatures. And if you ever feel like your room is too hot or too cold, you can put in a fix-it order and they'll come look at that temperature for you. People are asking what we recommend for the wall. If you do not have command strips, you can use a pin. You can use like, there's this like blue, like museum tack. You can use that. But I think the biggest one that people usually use is painter's tape. So it's like that blue tape, and that typically doesn't take any paint off the wall. So painter's tape is my recommendation. How big are the desks? And can they fit a PC and monitor? It'll really depend on the size of the computer. I can't give you a specific size of the desk right now, but like they should be able to fit a computer monitor and but it will really depend on like your own size of things. Are there thermostats in the dorms? No, you are not in control of your own temperature. But if you need someone to take the temperature, you can ask the RA and they will come like take the thermometer, take the temperature of your room. Someone asked, in the first year corridor style buildings, are there kitchens that students can use? Yes, all buildings will have a communal kitchen for you to use. Someone asked if you can have an air purifier. Um, I would just double check with the terms of occupancy on that and see if it's under prohibited items. I don't believe it is, but it would still need to comply with all of our electricity standards, and probably be a certain size. Someone asked why cooling mattress toppers aren't allowed. So typically like those cooling or gel ones just don't comply with the Cal 117 fire standards. So that's why they're not allowed. If it does comply, then it would be allowed. Someone asked the rules for like string lights or fairy lights. Um, that's a good one too. So string lights, you can have string lights, as long as, like I have been saying, they comply with the electricity standards. Um, the only thing with string lights that we see is sometimes you have a string light, and at the end of that string light, there is an outlet for another light to get plugged in, and then you cannot have that. So it just needs to be a string light and exist by itself and cannot be connected to another one by outlet, because then it is considered an extension cord instead. Are lamps that have USB ports allowed? Yes. Those are the only kind of outlets that, or ports that they can have. Someone asked if you can bring a fan. Yes, you can bring a box fan or a tower fan. There's a couple questions about outlets. It's different between the buildings, so I'm not able to give you a definite answer on that. You'll have at least 2 outlets. And you can bring a surge protector to like increase the number of outlet spaces available. It just has to be resettable. Um, and someone asked, can you have a tension rod as a partition? No. You're not able to hang up like a curtain in between the room. And then Megan, those might be all the questions that I am able to provide like the most solid answers for.
Okay, so at this time, we'll hang out for another minute or two if anyone does have any additional questions that we can do our best to answer. At this time, the required portion is complete. So if you don't have any questions, you are free to go. But we'll hang out and see if there are any additional questions we can answer in the next few minutes. Some of them might be a little particular that you might have to reach out to campus residences via email and see if they have more information directly coming from Central.
Yep. There's one about how do the mail rooms work and tell you how the mail rooms work. So your mail room, whatever mail room that you're assigned to go to, you will be able to just kind of walk up, you get a barcode to your email, you scan the barcode, and they will give you like your letters. Some communities have Amazon pickup lockers, so you'll same thing, get an email, get a barcode, and you can scan the barcode at the locker and pick up your mail or packages that way. The lockers are 24 hours a day. The mail rooms are typically open like a 9 to 5 situation. Oh, someone asked if I didn't answer your question, doesn't mean I don't know the answer. It just means I'm not confident in giving you the most accurate answer. So I would recommend reaching out, like Megan said, to the campus residence central email, and they will be able to provide information on your specific situation. Are there certain hours that are allowed in the kitchen hall? Typically, no. They're accessible to you 24/7. There's some of them in Chavez Tubman that have like doors that can technically be locked, but usually that doesn't happen. So I guess the answer is like you can use the kitchen whenever you need. Someone also asked about ice makers. This one I can't give you a positive answer because they're a little bit newer. There's nothing in the specific like prohibited, but there's also that clause that prohibits just like various kitchen appliances. So again, I think your best bet for the ice makers one would be reaching out to Central.
All right, we are wrapping up on time. I want to just thank Olivia for helping us today to learn more about campus residences. And then any additional questions we did not get to, please email reside@stonybrook.edu for your specific question. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. I'll answer both. The one last one is what can you do to make your room smell nice? So no candles, so don't bring a candle. No plug-in air freshener, don't bring in that. But you can use Febreze. You can use other kinds of like air freshener sprays. And there's also these really cool like little like scent beads that I'm a big fan of. You can use little like scent diffuser sticks. So things like that. Just nothing that produces heat. All right. And that's going to be my last question.